What's going on, you guys? My name is Zach Hartley and welcome back to another weekly watch list video. If you're new to the channel, this is the weekly video that I post every Sunday that breaks down the stocks that are at the top of my watch list going into Monday morning. Everything is pretty much based off technical analysis and the stocks that I am following on a weekly basis. So if you get any value out of this video, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. I post this video every single week and my goal is to share a couple of opportunities with you each and every week. But what we are going to start with here is looking at the market conditions so that we can understand what is happening on a bigger picture before we dive into individual stocks. And so how we do that is by looking at the different indices. What I like to do is look at the NASDAQ for technology, the S&P 500 for kind of a broad index, and then the Dow Jones for industrials. And so this is the NASDAQ chart, and as you can see, it was not a very good week for us last week. All of these charts are going to be on a daily candlestick. And as you can see, we opened up last week with a big red candlestick right here. Tuesday was okay for technology, and then we kind of bottomed out right here at 13,000 points on the NASDAQ. We had a nice little rally on Friday, but we did close the week a fair bit lower than where we started for the NASDAQ. Now, when we take a look at the S&P 500, it was sort of the same story. Red day on Monday, red day on Wednesday, kind of bottomed out, and then Thursday, Friday had a little bit of recovery. We have not broken through the trend line in the S&P 500, and this goes back probably 8 months right now. So it's a pretty good level of support right now, and we have not come close to falling through it as of right now. Now, when you look at the Dow Jones, it's sort of a similar story. Again, we've got a big, nice trend line here. Pretty steady movement over the last sort of 8 months. A big dip at the beginning of last week, a small recovery at the end of the week. We did close lower than where we opened, so it wasn't a good week for any of these indices, but that's okay. It wasn't a massive sell-off as we did have a fairly decent recovery on Thursday and Friday. Now, when you look at the price of Bitcoin in US dollars, it had a little bit more of a sell-off. As you can see, we were basically retesting the support that we found when Bitcoin kind of fell back in at the end of April here. It came down to about $48,000. It rose back up to $60,000, and it's basically come all the way back down to this $48,000 level. If it breaks through $48,000, that is going to be a very bearish indication because that was the most recent level of support. The next level I'd be looking for is $45,000, and then probably here $40,000. So definitely not great signs from Bitcoin, but if we open up higher come Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that will establish this $48,000 level as support, and that would be a bullish sign. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens over the next couple of days. And just for fun, when you look at Dogecoin, we're currently trading at around 51 cents. We did hit a high of 75 cents, and then Elon went out on Saturday Night Live. It hasn't done so well since, but he did announce that he was going to accept SpaceX missions using Dogecoin, and it looks like other people are actually starting to accept Dogecoin now. I saw an Instagram post of a tattoo shop that was accepting Dogecoin and SafeMoon. So really interesting to see what's going on in these markets. Now, when you look at COVID numbers, this is still important, not so much in the USA because as you can see, the numbers are going down, but in India, the numbers are still fairly high. They're not as high as they were 2 weeks ago, but they are still fairly high. This is having a big impact, and it's not looking great. We are starting to get to the point where people are getting vaccinated, and I think that's a good thing because I think the more people that get vaccinated, the quicker we will all be able to get kind of back to normal. So when we look at earnings this week, we've got a couple of big names, mostly on the consumer side. As you can see, we've got Walmart and Home Depot, and then the next day we've got Lowe's announcing their earnings. We also have Canadian Solar and Cisco and John Deere. So a couple of different industries, no real concentrations, no massive names right here. Walmart is probably the biggest one. And then you also have Target, Lowe's. So lots going on this week. Nothing major here, but lots to look at. Now, when it comes to opportunities for this week, there's a couple of companies that I want to point out. And what I'm trying to do here is find growth companies and good companies that have had major sell-offs that are still good businesses and that you may want to hold because they're still growth stocks, but because of the market conditions over the last few weeks, people have been transitioning out of small growth stocks and into larger, safer investments. And because of that, a lot of these young growth companies have taken a massive hit. And if you have the cash right now, I do think there's an opportunity to get into some of them. Now, the first one I want to point out to you is Higher Technologies. This is a Canadian-based company that, as you can see, ran up to a high of 90 cents and since then has come all the way back down, currently trading at 42 cents. So it has had a 50% sell-off. You can now buy it at 50% of where it was trading. And the reason that I like this right now is because basically since the middle of April here, it has found support at 40 cents. It has not broke through the trend line here. It has not been able to make any significant progress, but since the middle of April, it has found support at 40 cents. And so what I am watching for is for a breakout of the trend line, a breakthrough of the moving averages, and a move higher on higher technologies, because I think it's a good company. I like the business model, I like the financials, and as like everything's going in the right direction for the business, but the stock price is going in the opposite direction, and I think that represents an opportunity as a trader. Now, the next company I want to point out to you is Intuit. This is the company that does like TurboTax. They also do QuickBooks, which is what I run my business on. So they are a very amazing business. They have a lot of softwares that a lot of other businesses use and rely on, and it's an amazing business model because it's monthly recurring revenue, and when I make money, I pay more money to Intuit, and it's just a fantastic motivation because they're fully aligned with their customers. So I really like the business model, and as you can see here, all the way back to February here, it has not been able to basically break above and stay above $420. It came here in the middle of February, it came again in April, it came again at the end of April, and now in the middle of May, we are approaching 420 again. We're currently at 417, and we have higher volume 2 or 3 days ago. It's starting to pick up. I like what's happening here. We've got a crossover of the MACD. RSI is moving higher, and I think this chart represents an opportunity if Intuit can break above and stay above $420. So that's what I'm watching for. I'm watching for the break above $420. That gives me an entry point, and then I'll put a stop loss at 417, 416, something like that. Next company I want to talk about is Airbnb. This is another company that I like. They IPO'd, I don't know, 6-7 months ago here. Just at the end of 2019, they rose up to a high of 219, and then they had several peaks here, but they basically traded in a pretty bearish pattern until they have come back down to this $141 level. So they're down $80 from the high. It's now come down to $140, which was the same level that gave it support at the beginning of the year, and it traded pretty much sideways for like 4 days in a row. And so what I see here is that the stock price has come down to 140. It is now consolidating at 140, and it's either going to fall down or it's going to bounce higher depending on what's happening. Now, the reason I think it's going to bounce higher, and the reason I'm watching it right now, is because if you look at this volume right here, it's starting to dramatically increase over the last 2 or 3 days. We're also starting to come out of the oversold zone on the RSI, and the MACD looks like it could cross over soon. Now, those are just indicators, but realistically, why I like this company is because a lot of their revenue comes from the USA, and a lot of their revenue is based on people traveling. And as of right now, I think the rollout of the vaccine is going extremely well, and I think we will be getting back to normal fairly soon. And if that happens, more and more people are going to be using Airbnb to travel, to stay, to commute, to do business, and more people are going to want to rely on Airbnb to generate income. So I definitely like the business model. I like what they do. I like the software. I like the platform. And as of right now, it's down, let's call it 30%. I don't know what the math is there, about 30% from the highs, and it's still a fantastic, fantastic company. And I do think there's an opportunity as long as 140 holds. Now, the next company I want to point out is Biosig Medical Devices. Now, this is a really exciting company. They develop a technology that helps doctors understand what's going on in your heart while they do surgery better than previous technology. Now, what I like about this company is that over the last basically year, I've been following them, and they have only released positive news. Things are going really well for them. They've raised a little bit of money. They've got new projects. They've got new customers. They got new sales. Things are going really well for them, and I've even done a profile video on the company, and I've interviewed the CEO. Everything is going in the right direction, but like I mentioned, the stock continues to fall. It hit a high of $12.43, currently trading at $3.33, and I like it right now because we had one key level of support established in November at $2.80, and then back in 2020 we had another level established at around that $2.36, $2.40 level. We have just bounced off that first level here, and so what I'm watching for is confirmation of Biosig to continue moving higher. That would be a positive sign, and I would take an entry point there. Or I want it to come back down to $2.36. That's where I'm definitely going to take at least a medium-sized position in this one. I'm going to hold it for the ride up, and I'm going to put a stop loss just below 230, just below maybe 220, somewhere in there. But that's going to give me a nice opportunity to buy Biosig on the bounce off of support. So that's what I'm looking for there. Now, next thing I want to point out to you is Square. Again, this is a daily chart, but the reason I like Square is because they have one of the best business models in the world. Like I said with Intuit, when when their customers do well, Intuit does well, Square takes that to a whole nother level because they're just charging per transaction, which is an even better, fantastic business model. And I really like it because the company has done extremely well, and now the stock price has established major support at $200. You can see it has bounced off this $200 level 4 different times. I've pointed it out here with this green arrow, and we are currently sitting at $207. We had a dip to like $199, $198. We immediately recovered the next day. We bounced off 200. We're now at 207, and if we open up Monday, Tuesday at some point in there and we continue to move higher, I think there's a fantastic opportunity to buy Square on the bounce off 200. Now, another company with a similar pattern and even more bounces off the exact same level is Docusign. And so I basically drew this white line here at 185, but remember, it's not specifically 185. It's plus or minus $5 or $10 here on 185. And when you look at this, you can see that 185 has been a very key level here. I've drawn out, 4-7 arrows here of where the price has bounced off 185. We're currently trading at 187.08 right now. So we are right on this support level. It's very crucial time right now. And depending on how things go on Monday, Tuesday, we're very clearly either going to break through support, or we're going to either consolidate or go up and bounce off of support. What I'm looking for is the bounce off support and try and buy that on the way up, and then I will sell out probably before next level of resistance, either at 240 or here at 275, 280. That's what I'm looking for, and that's the trade that I have my eye on going into Monday morning. Now, if you are interested in learning a little bit more about how to put together a plan like this, read the chart, and understand what the different indicators and technical things mean, then you should definitely consider signing up for my Stock Market Fundamentals course. We just passed 5,000 students that have gone through the course. There's over 260 reviews, and in the course there's 9 hours of content that will walk you through step by step everything that you need to know, and it's hosted on Skillshare. So the nice thing is, when you sign up with the link in the description below, it's completely free for 2 weeks. You put your information in, you get 2 weeks access to the entire platform, including all of my courses, particularly the stock market course, but including the entire platform. And then after 2 weeks, it's about $20 per month. But if you don't like it, cancel anytime. There's no penalty. There's no fees. You can get 2 weeks worth of access totally free. Now, next company that I want to talk about and that I want to point out to you is Google. This is probably my favorite company because they have the best business model, because every advertisement they sell hardly costs them anything. It's like a 99% gross profit margin, and they're honestly just one of the best companies in the world. And so what I recommend is buying Google when it dips. If it falls through support, keep an eye on it and watch this company. But as of right now, I think we got a support line right here. It also kind of bounces off the 50-day moving average. As you can see, that's the red line here. It's a little hard to tell right now, but basically you can see Google is sort of consolidates and then it has a move higher. It consolidates and then it has a move higher. It's consolidating right now and it's coming down to that same level of support. It's coming down to that same 50-day moving average, and I'm expecting it to go a little bit higher. If it breaks down below 2,200 right here, I want it to dip as low as possible so that I can buy more at hopefully $1,500 or $1,000. But in my opinion, Google is a company that you should have in your long-term portfolio. Google is a company that you should hold long-term, and Google is a company that is going to be very difficult to compete with in the future. Now, next company I want to talk about is ChargePoint. These guys are in the electric vehicle charging industry. I've made several videos about them, traded them several times on the way up, but I haven't done much with them lately because it's been a little bit choppy. But what I'm starting to notice is that similar to the other stocks where we have key levels of support, this one has a very key level at $20. You can see drops down to $20, gets bought back up right away. Comes down to $20, way back up to $30 in like 5 days. Comes down to $20, back up to $27 in 5 days. Comes back down to $20, and now we're currently trading at $22.01. And so I like ChargePoint. I like the business model. I like the management team. I've done some research on the company. $49 was definitely expensive for the company. I think I started following them somewhere between $10 and $18, somewhere in there. And now we're kind of back down to that area. And back then they were a little bit pricey. So definitely not a cheap company. You're buying this company for the growth and for the potential of the electric vehicle industry. But as you can see, $20 is a major level of support. So if you can buy the bounce off of $20, you could have done it several times in here and you would have done extremely well. But you do need to stay on top of this one because it does move quickly. Now, next company I want to point out is Very Good Butchers. I talked about this company like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and then nothing really happened with the trade. The pattern just like didn't play out for us. It didn't go the way we wanted it to. And then I had like 3 people comment and say, hey, what's going on with Very Good? You're not talking about it anymore. And it's like the trade just didn't work out. Like the pattern just didn't form. I said we were going to buy the breakout here, and the breakout just never came. But what is happening now is that we did have one level of support that was established around $3.50 here. On Thursday, we came down to $3.50. And on Friday, we had a beautiful move higher up to $3.91. Now, we're not sure if this is definitely going to hold as support and if this is kind of confirmed turnaround, but if it opens higher and it moves higher on Monday, Tuesday, that would be a good sign. That would be the first sign of a trend reversal. After that, we would want to see it move through the trend line and the moving averages. We'd want to see a little bit more volume. We'd want to see the RSI move higher and a clear indication from the MACD. But as of right now, it does look like it could be the start of a turnaround. So I'm watching Very Good Butchers very closely. Now, next company, and probably the last company on this list, is Tesla. This is obviously one of my favorite companies. I bought the charger, the phone charger the other day. It was kind of cool. But I like the company. I like what they're doing. I just don't own the stock. I trade the stock. And so last time I traded it was when it kind of bounced off of 550. I caught this nice, big, beautiful green day here in an options trade. I think it's the intro video on my YouTube channel right now. But since then, I haven't done much with it because it's been a little bit choppy. But now it is at the top of my radar again because the stock price has come back down to this 550, 575 level. It has come down, and I'm expecting it to bounce off of 550. When I look at the electric vehicle landscape, I still think Tesla is far in the lead, but I am excited because Ford is actually unveiling an electric truck this week. I want to say it's like May 19th, May 18th, something like that. So I'm really interested to see what that looks like. I am a little bit concerned about how much competition there is and where it will be in 5 years. But as of right now, I do think Tesla has a pretty big advantage. So it will be really interesting to see how this plays out over the next little while. But if we see a strong move higher off of 550, I may look at buying another batch of options or a little bit of stock here because I do like Tesla. I think there's a good opportunity here, but we need to see things really come together. Now, if you are interested in staying a little bit more up to date with my charts and what I am looking at, and you want to join the conversation, then you should definitely consider joining our private Discord chat and watch list. It is where I'm trying to build a community of traders to share their research, share their trades, share their knowledge, and share their due diligence so that you're not stuck at home doing it all by yourself. The goal is to build a community. This is also where I share my technical analysis and my weekly watch list. So if you're interested in that, I would love to have you there. It's basically one big group chat and it's $5 per month. So if you'd like to sign up, the link is on my website in the description to this video. It is also available if you click that little join button next to the subscribe button. I would love to have you there. Definitely check it out. But my game plan for the next week, my goal here is to find great companies with falling prices and buy in when the trend changes. You need to wait for a level of confirmation that you are comfortable with, and then you need to get into it. You need to make sure that you set a stop loss or you set some type of way to manage your risk. And as of right now, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm holding a bit of cash and I'm really looking forward to deploying it into good companies that I'm happy to add to a long-term portfolio and then making a couple of swing trades on the stocks that I pointed out to you today. So if you get any value out of this video, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. I sincerely appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video. Good luck trading, good luck investing, and we'll talk to you soon.